And then I made Romantic Homicide, and it was so different than everything else I had made because it was actually sad. It was slow, it was sad, it was emotional.
The entire music world is in shock right now because an R&B star is being accused of confessing to murder in one of his own tracks. What was once praised as raw, emotional artistry is suddenly being replayed as possible evidence in a homicide investigation, and the details are bone-chilling. At the center of this chaos is David, a 20-year-old rising star whose leaked demo allegedly reveals he killed 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, whose body was later discovered in his abandoned Tesla. This isn't just whispers on the internet. This is a full-blown scandal backed by explosive leaks. Audio has surfaced online where David practically spells out the crime in haunting detail, and now prosecutors are treating his own lyrics like a confession. What's worse, rumors are spreading that his entire team may have known something dark was going on, but chose to stay silent, letting tragedy unfold while chasing fame and money. Fans are horrified, the industry is panicking, and police are now combing through every single lyric of his unreleased catalog, searching for hidden clues about Celeste's death. The most damning piece of evidence? A leaked demo called Celeste that surfaced online September 17, 2025. The very same day Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains were officially identified by authorities. The timing is beyond suspicious. And this isn't some random throwaway song. This is 2 minutes and 47 seconds of what many are calling a raw confession, disguised as an R&B ballad.
Just last night, the office listed the victim's gender as female, a height of about 5'1" and 71 pounds. This person has wavy black hair, and she apparently has a tattoo on her right index finger that reads, "Shh." Apparently, she had been wearing a tube top, black leggings, had a metal stud earring, and a metal chain bracelet in the shape of a W. According to TMZ, though, to be more specific here, there is no definitive conclusion as to age, gender, or cause of death.
People online are saying he literally sang about the murder before anyone even knew she was missing, let alone dead. Fans are replaying the track frame by frame, bar by bar, convinced it's David admitting to one of the darkest crimes in modern music history. And here's where it gets even darker. The receipts line up. Independent analysts have verified the leaked audio, confirming that the vocals match David's exact tone, cadence, and recording style from his 2023 sessions. Even scarier, the file metadata shows the track was laid down in December 2023 at a Hollywood home studio, 4 months before Celeste disappeared. That timeline flips the entire case on its head. If this was really recorded before her death, the question becomes, was David confessing in real time? Or was this track a blueprint of what he already had in mind? Either way, it's twisted beyond belief. But the real horror is in the bridge of the song. This is the section that's sending shockwaves across social media and chilling even seasoned investigators. David doesn't just sing about love or heartbreak. He literally names Celeste and drops details that eerily match the actual crime scene. For many listeners, this stopped being music. It started sounding like a taped confession playing over a beat. He croons, "Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest, smell her on my clothes like cigarettes." Those words hit like a nightmare come to life. People are replaying that line on loop, pointing out how the imagery matches things investigators found at the scene. Then, almost obsessively, the leaked vocals spiral into repetition. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. It's a breathy, haunted delivery that makes the lyrics feel less like metaphor and more like obsession bleeding into guilt. And just when you think it can't get creepier, the track collapses into a chilling instrumental solo. Cold, hollow, unsettling.
Are treating this as a death investigation. A spokesperson for the singer, whose real name, by the way, is David Anthony Burke, said in a statement to NBC News that he, quote, has been informed about what's happened, and although he is still out on tour, he is fully cooperating with the authorities. Now, we're going to talk about potential legal consequences here, but I have to say the singer may already be feeling the economic consequences.
Fans online say it feels like the exact moment David realized he'd said too much. trying to drown his own words in music. It is the kind of eerie silence that makes people wonder if they re-listening to art or to evidence of a murder confession. That line, tattooed on her chest, isn't just spooky, it's setting off alarms everywhere. Investigators and fans alike are pointing out how it eerily mirrors Celeste Rivas' own finger tattoo that read, "Shh." Even crazier? Sources say David went and got the exact same tattoo in September 2024, nearly a year after she disappeared. That detail has people asking, was this his twisted way of binding himself to her memory, or leaving a hidden breadcrumb for anyone paying attention? But the lyric that is making everyone's blood run cold is the one about "smell her on my clothes like cigarettes." Why? Because tow yard workers who handled David's abandoned Tesla independently reported a foul, rotting odor seeping from the vehicle after it sat untouched for months. That is not just artistic imagery, it is a sensory detail that investigators say could only come from someone who was there. For fans and cops alike, that lyric transformed from poetry into what feels like a straight-up smoking gun. And once the leak hit the internet, the scandal exploded. It started quietly, with a Dropbox file floating around on X, supposedly first shared with a producer in January 2024. But once people realized what they were hearing, it spread like wildfire. Within hours, TikTok edits, YouTube breakdowns, and SoundCloud reposts had pushed the track into viral territory. By September 18th, just one day after Celeste's remains were confirmed, the so-called murder ballad had racked up over 1.5 million streams across platforms. The nickname stuck instantly. Online, fans weren't calling it an unreleased demo anymore. They were labeling it David's Murder Ballad. But here's the thing, that audio is just the beginning. Investigators now believe the song is one piece of a much bigger, darker puzzle, a trail of music, metadata, and hidden references that could unravel the entire case. But the leaks don't stop with the music. The digital trail is turning into a full-blown firestorm. Screenshots and alleged call transcripts are now circulating, and they suggest something far darker than a one-time tragedy. These aren't just whispers anymore. What's out there points to coordination, planning, and a cover-up operation that stretches months after Celeste's disappearance. Around 8 to 10 screenshots pulled from a David fan Discord server have gone viral.
We got in touch with Celeste's mother, and the mother told us, because what the police had come out with was that the girl had a tattoo on her right index finger that said S.
Even before they could find out her name, they obviously had the body parts and they released some information.
And it was on her index finger. It said SHHH with 3 dots or 4 dots, and that's all we knew. The mother told us that my daughter had a tattoo on her right index finger that said the same thing, and that the tattoo, she told us, in fact, Anakin, she only spoke Spanish, so Anakin spoke to her.
The timestamps, dated between March and August 2024, allegedly show disturbing conversations about moving vehicles, hiding evidence, and even bragging about making someone disappear permanently. That's not fan chatter. That's dirt that looks actionable to investigators. The most jaw-dropping screenshot, dated April 10th, 2024, just days after Celeste vanished. In a private group chat, David allegedly typed, "She flipped out last night, had to calm her. Wrapped her tight in the plastic from Amazon. Park it in Hollywood Hills, let it sit till towed, no tickets on it yet." That message alone has shaken fans to their core, because the phrasing mirrors not only the leaked song lyrics, but also the grim details later confirmed by investigators. When another group member supposedly warned him that disposing of a body was a huge risk, the leaked reply only made things darker. David allegedly brushed it off, writing, "Tour alibi covers me. Send $1,000 each for silence." That's not banter, that reads like a ransom note for loyalty. And if true, it shows he wasn't just hiding something, he was actively buying silence from those around him. The creepiest part? Another leaked line. "She's gone quiet forever." When fans linked that chilling phrase to the song lyric "wrapped her tight," it turned into straight-up nightmare fuel. Because the grim reality is this. Reports say Celeste was found dismembered, packed tight in a black duffel bag, and shoved into the Tesla's front trunk, wrapped in layers of plastic. That one sentence, "quiet forever," is now being read not as grief, but as a flex, a twisted victory lap that's left both investigators and fans horrified. These Discord leaks have pushed the scandal into overdrive, turning a suspicious demo track into what looks like a multi-layered confession trail, stretching from the music to private chats. And now, authorities are reportedly cross-referencing every single message with hard evidence from the Tesla, bank transfers, and phone logs. The walls around David's empire are starting to close in, fast.
Said that she had a boyfriend.
That's right, that she had a boyfriend and his name was David. The mother never really got in contact with David, like she never saw him.
She didn't know who the David was.
She had heard of him. And it seemed like the last time that she had seen her daughter was when she had gone out with David.
This so-called romantic homicide angle turns pitch black once the alleged call transcripts enter the picture. A leaked transcript from April 11, 2024, allegedly captures a chilling 28-minute call where David can be heard saying, "Yo, Celeste wouldn't stop texting threats. Had to end it quick. Choke hold in the car." What follows is even darker, messages that allegedly lay out the cleanup step by step. "Now she's packed. Smells already. Drive the Tesla to Hills tomorrow. Leave keys under mat. Tow yard handles the rest. Body rots quiet." That sequence is nightmare fuel because it lines up almost perfectly with the real case facts. The chokehold reference is huge. While the full autopsy hasn't been released, sources close to the investigation claim strangulation is being considered based on the condition of Celeste's remains. And the disposal plan? Nearly identical to reality. The Tesla was indeed found abandoned in the Hollywood Hills before being towed for unpaid tickets, exactly as described in the transcript. That makes this leak look a lot less like rumor and a lot more like a puzzle piece sliding into place. And it didn't stop there. Another alleged transcript from July 15, 2024, supposedly catches David in the same haunting cadence. "Law, she silenced. Eternal trunk tomb. No traces. Brag to the song, but fans too dumb. Paid to forget. Now it's my best plot." That phrase, eternal trunk tomb, combined with brag to the song, paints a disturbing picture of someone who wasn't to just committing violence but treating it like art, flexing on it as if murder itself was a twisted performance. Screenshots from these leaks also show an alleged trail of hush payments. Reports claim more than $8,000 flowed through Venmo and Cash App to fans and associates, tagged with notes like "For Celeste, things stay silent," and "If cops ask, you never met her." One chilling message even read, "I made it look like she ran away." David's reps are scrambling to contain the scandal, insisting the screenshots and transcripts are maliciously edited fabrications meant to smear an innocent artist. But here's the catch. The LAPD hasn't dismissed the leaks. In fact, insiders say investigators are actively digging through payment records, call logs, and digital metadata to test whether these files are authentic. And if even half of it checks out, this case goes from rumor mill to open and shut in record time. The real nightmare for David isn't just the leaks themselves, it is how all the puzzle pieces line up. The audio, the call transcripts, the Discord screenshots, every detail overlaps. The timeline, the remote Hollywood Hills location, the method of disposal, even the exact way Celeste's body was allegedly wrapped, it all matches across multiple sources. That's what makes this more than gossip. It's what transforms whispers into a chilling, legally dangerous case that grows heavier by the hour. What's really haunting is the way David apparently believed he'd created the perfect alibi. He used his tour schedule as camouflage, hopping city to city, performing under the bright lights while Celeste's body sat undiscovered in that Tesla. To the outside world, he was a star on the rise. But behind the scenes, the leaks suggest every move was mapped out months in advance. His shows gave him distance, his fans gave him cover, and all the while, the Tesla sat rotting in the hills. That level of premeditation paints a terrifying picture of someone who wasn't just impulsive. He was cold, calculating, and playing a long game with human life. But what truly makes people sick is the arrogance dripping from these alleged leaks. Bragging in Discord chats, casually rapping about the crime in unreleased tracks, acting like his fame made him untouchable. It is the audacity that S left fans and investigators stunned. It wasn't just violence. It was violence as performance, with David seemingly convinced he could hide confessions in plain sight. Once the receipts hit the internet, the explosion was immediate. Hashtags like D4vd leaks and Justice for Celeste lit up X, TikTok, and YouTube overnight. Within hours, clips dissecting the song and screenshots of the transcripts had racked up over 1.2 billion views. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was a cultural firestorm, with fans turning into digital detectives, demanding answers and calling for justice in real time. The scandal stopped being about music. It became a global movement for truth. By September 18, 2025, the public wasn't just shocked anymore. They were furious. The tide of opinion flipped almost overnight. Former fans who had defended David through every rumor suddenly turned on him, unleashing a flood of anger across socials. One devastated supporter wrote, "I'm so angry. I was confident he hadn't done anything. Waking up to this new evidence makes me sick. I pray for her family. I pray Celeste gets her justice. David is a sick man who needs to be stopped." That single post racked up thousands of likes and shares, echoing the rage and heartbreak spreading across the internet like wildfire. Content creators and commentators didn't waste a second connecting the dots. They pulled together a devastating timeline, the grooming allegations that started when Celeste was just 12. The reports of her dating David at 13 while he was already 17, and then the horrific ending, her body discovered at only 15 years old. Layered on top of this, his lyrics about leaving a girl quiet forever in a trunk, lines that fans now see as a sinister foreshadowing of how Celeste was actually found, packed into the trunk of his abandoned Tesla. The parallel was too precise, too cold, and in the court of public opinion, it sealed the verdict long before any trial could. The sense of betrayal hit like a gut punch. Fans who once blasted his tracks on repeat now feel complicit, as though they were unknowingly vibing to confessions hidden in plain sight. One viral thread summed it up with brutal clarity. "I don't know if David is a murderer, but I do know he's no innocent artist. He groomed her, he sang about her, and now she's gone." That alignment between the alleged crime, the lyrics, and the receipts has turned a rising star's career into one of the darkest scandals modern music has ever seen. What was once hyped as raw artistry is now viewed as a chilling mask for obsession, control, and tragedy. And for many, there's no going back. The betrayal isn't just musical, it's personal. The leaked track is being called flat-out disgusting by listeners worldwide. Comment sections are flooded with "R.I.P. Celeste Rivas" posts as her name trends alongside David East's downfall. The mix of alleged grooming and full-blown murder accusations created the perfect storm online. TikTok detectives dove in instantly, one viral creator claiming the Discord leaks prove David had been texting Celeste when she was just 12. That clip alone racked up millions of views in hours, fueling the narrative that this wasn't just scandal. It was evidence hiding in plain sight. But not everyone was ready to convict based solely on grainy audio and circulating screenshots. A small but vocal group demanded official receipts from authorities, real files, authenticated chains of custody, and verified timestamps. Their arguments didn't last long. Outrage was so overwhelming that even mild defenses got buried under an avalanche of fury. One fan account, a Caesar Lou, tried running damage control, posting, "Please be quiet. Nothing is confirmed yet. Before you spread rumors, do your research. If the worst happens and David is found guilty of anything, I'll change this account's purpose immediately. I don't support anything like that." But even that carefully worded stance got dragged, quote-tweeted, and ripped apart as emotions boiled over. To the public, even caution looked like complicity. Still, the skeptics kept pushing. They leaned hard on David's supposed tour alibi, pointing out that he was performing in multiple cities during the key months, suggesting that maybe the leaks were doctored or staged to frame him. Others demanded technical verification. Who had access to the original files? Where was the metadata trail? A popular creator even noted, "From the article, David is on tour right now, so it's giving setup or some other scenario." That sparked the backbone of the framed theory, a last lifeline for supporters who refused to believe their favorite artist could be capable of something so dark. But even as those theories spread, the outrage wave was too massive. The cultural tide had turned, and no defense, no matter how logical, could stop the storm that was already drowning David's career. Meanwhile, the numbers told their own twisted story. At first, streams for Romantic Homicide collapsed by nearly 40% as fans launched boycotts and playlists purged David's name. But then came the shocking reversal, the so-called murder bump. Streams spiked more than 300% as the world started replaying every lyric, dissecting every word for hidden confessions and timeline clues. It was a grim reminder of how controversy fuels engagement. The more horrifying the scandal, the more people can't look away. The leaked Celeste demo turned into viral spectacle in the darkest way imaginable. TikTok creators synced its haunting lyrics over real news clips of the Tesla being hauled away on a tow truck, and those edits passed 50 million views almost overnight. The most chilling sync moment. That bridge where David croons about someone wrapped up tight, spliced with headlines reporting Celeste's body found in plastic. Viewers called it one of the creepiest moments social media has ever produced, blurring the line between art and evidence. And David? Silent. Completely silent. No live stream, no Q&A, no personal statement. Nothing since a September 10th tour promo on X. Instead, his team drip-fed carefully worded statements to media outlets insisting the leaks could be manipulated. That context was missing, and that investigators should speak before the internet rushed to judgment. But the silence from David himself only made things worse. Because when the whole world's screaming for answers, silence feels like guilt. TMZ added fuel when they reported that a tipster linked David's camp to direct contact with Celeste's mother, a move critics slammed as PR damage control. And then NBC News dropped the official line from his team. Devastated by the tragedy, these rumors are coincidental, art twisted into lies, praying for Celeste's family. But instead of calming the fire, that one phrase, coincidental art, poured gasoline all over it. Fans dragged the wording as tone-deaf and insulting. How could lyrics that matched details of a crime scene down to the wrapping of a body be coincidental? The public wasn't buying it. For many, that statement wasn't a defense. It was a confession dressed up as PR, and maybe the loudest response hasn't come from David's words. It has come from his silence. On September 17th and 18th, he abruptly canceled his Seattle shows, then postponed his San Francisco dates, citing only personal matters. For an artist whose entire career was built on non-stop interaction and tour energy, this move hit like a bomb. Fans immediately called it a red flag, because in the face of accusations this heavy, silence isn't neutral. To many, silence is louder than denial. Out of the chaos, 3 dominant theories have exploded online, each with massive followings ready to defend their version of the truth. The first, and by far the loudest, paints David as guilty of premeditated murder. Sentiment analysis shows nearly 70% of X posts fall under this view. Supporters of this theory point directly to the overlapping evidence. The leaked audio, the metadata confirming 2023 recordings, the tattoo link, his tour alibi falling apart, and the chilling way his lyrics seem to narrate the crime scene detail by detail. For them, the case is open and shut. David used music to brag about murder, and now it's all unraveling. The second theory, smaller but fierce at about 20% of online voices, claims David was set up, framed by rivals or obsessive fans determined to end his career. These defenders argue the files look doctored. No consistent watermarks, sketchy metadata trails, and even the possibility of deepfake AI mimicking his voice. They also dismiss the "sh" tattoo as too generic to mean anything concrete. To them, this is a smear campaign fueled by cancel culture, not a murder investigation. Then there's the third, quieter theory, holding about 10% of the discourse, the accidental killing angle. This camp doesn't dismiss the grooming allegations, but argues that Celeste's death might have been the result of a heated argument spiraling out of control, not cold-blooded premeditation. They frame David less as a monster, more as someone who panicked in the aftermath of a tragic mistake. But whichever theory you believe, the reality is the same. David's silence, cancelled shows, and mounting evidence have turned this into one of the most polarizing scandals in music history. His career, once destined for arenas, now hangs by a thread, and the world is watching every move, waiting to see if this ends in redemption, conviction, or total collapse. In this third theory, David isn't painted as a mastermind killer, but as someone who panicked, covered up a tragedy, and later scrambled to hide behind flimsy alibis. Reddit sleuths latched on hard to this angle, especially leaked messages suggesting Celeste flipped out before her death. To them, this wasn't cold-blooded. It was chaos, panic, and a cover-up gone horribly wrong. But regardless of which narrative you believe, the comparisons have been brutal. David's name is now being dragged alongside the darkest scandals in music history. Posts are stacking him next to R. Kelly, pointing out how power, fame, and blind fan bases can create dangerous shields for predatory behavior. To critics, this case isn't just about David. It is about an industry that looks the other way until tragedy forces accountability. Fame can mask red flags for years, but once the truth cracks through, it hits harder than ever. And make no mistake, whether the evidence is authenticated or not, the damage is already catastrophic. The leaked song, the transcripts, the Discord screenshots, they've all sparked a social media wildfire that refuses to burn out. Authenticity almost doesn't matter anymore, because in the court of public opinion, David has already been convicted. His reputation, shattered. His career, hanging by a single thread. And now, the only question left is whether law enforcement can stack enough hard evidence to match the viral receipts that have already broken the internet. David Anthony Burke, known professionally as simply David, was once the poster child for the American dream. Born March 28, 2005, in Queens, New York, and raised in Houston, Texas, he went from recording songs in his sister's closet to topping Billboard charts before he even hit 20. His rise was meteoric, his fan base rabid, his future limitless. But by September 2025, that dream had twisted into a nightmare. Grooming allegations, leaked murder ballads, and claims of a cover-up now threaten to erase everything he built. What was once the story of a prodigy rising from nothing has spiraled into one of the darkest scandals modern music has ever seen. David's rise was nothing short of meteoric. A self-taught bedroom producer with nothing more than FL Studio and a cheap mic, he began uploading lo-fi experiments to SoundCloud in late 2021. At first, it was all for fun, just background music for his Fortnite YouTube montages. But his raw, vulnerable style struck a nerve. Gen Z listeners, tired of polished industry clones, latched onto his confessional sound. By early 2022, his name was buzzing in underground Discord servers and TikTok edits. His tracks passed around like secret treasures. Then came July 2022, the breakthrough that changed everything. Romantic Homicide hit like a cultural earthquake, dominating TikTok with millions of edits and eventually peaking at D4vd on the Billboard Hot 100. On Spotify, it smashed past 1 billion streams, turning a teenager with a bedroom setup into one of the fastest rising stars in music. Lyrics once shrugged off as teenage angst. Lines like, "I don't love you, but I still act like I do. I didn't mean to make you cry, I just wanted to see you bleed," are now being re-examined as something far darker. What once sounded like heartbreak anthems are being replayed as possible confessions hiding in plain sight, a grim foreshadowing of the storm to come. By 2024 and 2025, David wasn't underground anymore. He was everywhere. He landed Feel It on Amazon's Invincible soundtrack, performed a career-defining set at Coachella, and released his debut album Withered in April 2025. It entered the Billboard 200 at #1, cementing him as the face of Gen Z alt R&B. His tours sold out arenas, his label pushed him as a global superstar, and millions of fans crowned him the underdog who beat the system. But behind the glossy image of world tours, major label support, and endless success, a darker truth was allegedly unfolding. Whispers of grooming, hidden lyrics tied to crimes, and chilling leaks have since overshadowed everything he built. Now, the same confessional style that once made him famous is being dissected line by line as potential evidence in a murder investigation. The underdog dream that lifted him to the top of the charts has morphed into a nightmare scandal that could erase his career entirely. The story of David and Celeste Rivas is where teenage admiration twists into pure horror. Celeste Rivas. Hernandez was just 15 years old, a rising TikTok hopeful from Lake Elsinore, California, standing barely 5'2" with long, wavy black hair. She represented the Gen Z dream, chasing clout online, building a name through lip syncs, edits, and influencer aspirations. But behind that dream was a nightmare. She first connected with David back in 2022, when she was only 12 years old. David, at the time, was already 17 and gaining momentum in music circles. That's where investigators now say the tragedy truly began. According to leaked Discord screenshots from a server chillingly titled David's Pets, their interaction started in late 2022. Using the handles Celeste XOXO13 and David Homicide, the two allegedly went from casual fan exchanges to private conversations that blurred every line of safety. The leaks suggest David personally reached out after Celeste posted a TikTok cover of Romantic Homicide. What began as fan-to-artist appreciation allegedly spiraled into secrecy, manipulation, and what prosecutors now call textbook grooming behavior. The alleged progression of their relationship reads like a dark case study in predation. Slow, deliberate, calculated. It began with flattery, then shifted into secrecy and promises of opportunity, gradually isolating Celeste from anyone who might have protected her. Investigators say David leveraged his fame, dangling collaboration like bait, while building trust he could later exploit. One leaked Discord message from February 2023 is especially damning. David allegedly wrote, "Hey cutie, saw your TikTok. You got that vibe. I write about what's real." When Celeste replied with a chilling reminder, 12 LOL. David E.S. alleged response sent shockwaves. "Age is just a number in art. Let's collab. Keep it secret." Those words don't sound like industry mentorship. They sound like manipulation, plain and simple. To prosecutors, that's the moment admiration became entrapment. What should have been innocent fan interaction is now being dissected as the start of a cycle that escalated into obsession, exploitation, and ultimately tragedy. And with every new leak, the case against David looks less like rumor and more like a haunting record of a young girl's stolen future. By June 2023, the alleged grooming escalated into something even more sinister. Leaked receipts show Venmo payments sent to Celeste's friends, labeled Art Inspo, which prosecutors now believe were bribes to buy silence. Around the same time, David allegedly began floating the idea of flying Celeste out to LA once she turned just 13. The grooming trail only got darker as 2023 bled into 2024. By then, Celeste was only 14, David was 19, and speculation inside his own Discord server started boiling over. Members began whispering that the two were secretly dating. One leaked message from March 2024 attributed to David himself reads like a chilling confession. "She's my muse. Kept it low-key 'cause age vibes. Shh, our secret." That single line says everything prosecutors are arguing. Romance wrapped in secrecy, control dressed up as art, and manipulation disguised as love. It's the exact textbook definition of grooming behavior, documented in real time through digital trails. And then came the tattoos, the most twisted layer yet. Celeste had a shh tattoo on her right index finger, which she proudly showed off in a 2023 TikTok. Then, in September 2024, months after her disappearance, David got the exact same tattoo. Fans and investigators alike are divided on what it means. Was it a sick memorial to a victim he controlled? A symbolic trophy inked on his skin to keep her memory under his thumb? Either way, it feels like a haunting message carved into permanence. Celeste's mother, Maria Hernandez, later told TMZ that her daughter mentioned a boyfriend named David in early 2024. Their communication was allegedly through Snapchat, with Celeste talking about possible trips to LA. The family never approved of these visits, making her sudden disappearance all the more devastating and suspicious. That nightmare climax came on April 5, 2024. Celeste was last seen making casual plans to watch a movie with her brother Matthew in Lake Elsinore, but she never arrived. Her phone went dark after sending a Snapchat at 7:42 p.m., claiming she was heading to LA for a cool opportunity. Friends later revealed she was giddy about connecting with a famous singer. And the final nail? Leaked Discord logs allegedly show David himself arranging a meetup that very week. It was the last time anyone in her family saw her alive. What happened next, according to the leaked messages and alleged audio, was nothing short of a nightmare. A heated argument spiraled violently out of control, and Celeste never made it home. The horror finally came full circle in September 2025, when her body was discovered in the most gruesome way imaginable. On September 8, 2025, employees at Hollywood Tow & Auto Storage noticed a revolting stench seeping from a black Tesla Model 3 that had been sitting untouched since being impounded from the Hollywood Hills. When staff popped the hood to check the front trunk, they were met with a sight straight out of a horror film: a black duffel bag stuffed with decomposed, dismembered remains wrapped tightly in layers of plastic. Inside that bag was Celeste Rivas. The heartbreaking identification came not from DNA at first, but from her clothes: her signature black tube top, black leggings, stud earrings, and the yellow bracelet she was last seen wearing on the night of April 5, 2024. That chilling detail confirmed what investigators feared. Celeste had been missing for over a year, and the outfit she vanished in became the key to recognizing her in death. The dismemberment itself told an even darker story. Prosecutors believe it wasn't rage, but strategy. Her body appeared deliberately cut apart to fit into the cramped front trunk of the Tesla, a chilling act of premeditation and shocking callousness. The car that symbolized David's success, his dream ride, had become nothing more than a mobile tomb. By September 17, 2025, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner officially classified the case as homicide. The cause of death was deferred pending toxicology results, but one thing was clear: the timeline lined up perfectly with her April 2024 disappearance. For 5 horrifying months, her body sat hidden in that Tesla, rotting in silence, while the world unknowingly streamed David's music millions of times. A Star-S dream car had turned into a coffin of secrets, and a crime scene too gruesome for the world to ignore. The scandal has completely scorched David's career, torched it beyond recognition. In the immediate aftermath, streams spiked by more than 300% as morbid curiosity drove listeners to pick apart every lyric, desperate to uncover hidden confessions. But that twisted murder bump didn't last long. Once the shock faded, the boycotts came crashing down. Major streaming platforms quietly started scrubbing him off their biggest playlists, stripping away the exposure that once fueled his rise. Brands that had lined up to partner with him cut ties overnight, erasing endorsements like they never happened. And his withered world tour? It's collapsing in real time. Venues across the country are pulling out, refusing to host a headliner drowning in murder accusations this dark. In less than a week, the same machine that built him into a superstar has abandoned him, leaving only ashes where his career once stood. Meanwhile, his team is still clinging to the narrative of innocence, trying to polish the ruins with press releases. They've claimed David is fully cooperating with authorities and doubled down on the idea that his songs are just coincidental art twisted into lies. But that phrase, art twisted into lies, has already become an online meme, mocked endlessly as tone-deaf and hollow. Instead of softening the scandal, it's pouring gasoline on it. Because in the court of public opinion, the verdict is already sealed. David's name is branded with a digital scarlet letter, one that won't fade with time. The leaked evidence is everywhere, circulating non-stop on X, TikTok, Reddit, clips, screenshots, and receipts that no PR spin can bury. His downfall is playing out live, and every day, the stain grows darker. From a billion-stream prodigy to a cultural pariah, David's fall isn't just tragic, it's total. As of September 18, 2025, David has not been officially charged, but the LAPD has confirmed he remains a person of interest in an active homicide investigation. Detectives are digging deep, cross-checking DNA pulled from the Tesla, mapping out every inch of its GPS history, and combing through phone records that may hold the final key. Behind closed doors, prosecutors are weighing whether the mounting pile of leaks, lyrics, and digital receipts can be transformed into an airtight case. And while the legal system moves carefully, the entire world is watching in real time, demanding answers, demanding justice. The truth about those alleged confessions, whether authentic or fabricated, will eventually be tested in court. But one fact is already undeniable. David's career is over. His billion-stream breakthrough has collapsed into the ashes of one of the darkest scandals modern music has ever seen. And most tragically, Celeste Rivas' life has been cut short at just 15 years old. A young girl with dreams of becoming an influencer, robbed of her future before it could even begin. This case has ignited a chilling new conversation. How easily fame can blur boundaries, how obsession can hide behind the mask of art, and how power in the wrong hands can prey on the most vulnerable fans. It's a story that started as music and ended as a global warning.